Hi everyone, I wanted to help you out by placing your logo into your billboard or your bus stop or whatever format you're going to use for your marketing. So I thought I'd do a little tutorial to help you out. So this is one of the templates that I have in the shared drive under Graphic Design 2 under Apparel group project. So it's already blank, but what you'll notice is it's at a angle. So it's not a perfect rectangle, but that's what makes it kind of look more realistic. So depending on the image that you're using, you may have to consider perspective and so forth. So I'm going to show you how to place your logo, how to skew it, how to change the background color, and how to add some text for a slogan as you feel necessary. So let's start by this image. I just literally downloaded it and then opened it up. I now have my logo that I've already pre-prepared. The best way to place your logo in this billboard is to actually use the place element under the file menu. So file and place embedded, not linked, because you don't want it to be tied to anything else. You're going to embed it into this image. So place embedded. And then my logo is right there from my downloads menu. You can see a little icon of it right there. I make sure that anything over here, make sure it's in color, and then I click OK. The image is here, but right now Photoshop only sees it as a temporary image until you hit the return or enter button. It'll take that X off of the actual logo. So I'm going to go ahead and hit that. I'm now able to move this around, but notice it doesn't really fit well on my billboard. Even if I'm changing the size of it, I can't skew it. So I want to show you how to do that. Before you do that, however, you have to make sure that you've rasterized your image. Rasterization makes the image become a pixel-based image, and Photoshop has more editing capabilities with it rasterized. The way that you know it's not rasterized is there's this funny little icon that lays over top of the layer in the layers menu. It's this tiny little thing I'm circling. Once you go to the layer menu here, you can see that nothing is available. Rasterize is there, but it's grayed out. So I have to make sure that I've hit return. It's accepting that that's the image I want. Now when I go to the layer menu, I say layer, and then I go to rasterize. And in this case, I'm just going to rasterize everything. That way everything is editable. So I go down to all layers. Now I no longer have that funny little icon over top of my little layer thumbnail. I'm now ready to skew this the way that I'd like. So I'm going to go under the edit menu, down to transform, and I'm actually going to use the skew option right here. There's a whole bunch of different options, but the one that I particularly like for this billboard is skew. That allows me to take the actual corners of my image, and now what it's doing is it's kind of putting it into the same perspective in the same angle as the billboard itself. So I'm just going to kind of play with it until I feel like I've got it about where I want it to be. I'm kind of lining up my corners with the edges of the billboard. Once I have it, I again hit return. That accepts the changes. Your transform is complete. If you don't like it, you can undo it. Now I'm going to zoom in so I can show you how to go about getting rid of this white background, because when it embeds the image, it'll automatically put a white background in unless you've done something in Illustrator where you've created a transparent background, but more than likely you'll have a white background. In order to get rid of that white background, I'm going to use my magic wand tool. It's the fourth tool down. The magic wand allows me to select an area of color that then sees all the other pixels around it. So I'm going to select it. Once you have the marching ants, you can hit delete. Now I still have the marching ants, but I no longer have the color inside. In order to deselect on a Mac, it's Command D, or you can also deselect under the select menu and then go to deselect. And that way no longer is anything actually selected. I'm going to zoom back out so that I can show you how to create a background color on the actual billboard. So here's your lasso tool. You're going to click in the corners and just drag your lasso along the edges of your billboard shape, and you can do this for any kind of form. And you can make the lasso change, and so forth as needed. Now I'm ready to dump a color into here. So let me go ahead to my color bar, and then I think I might go with a gray tone just to see if I like it. So I'm going to click my gray, and then I'm ready to dump that gray color into that area that I've lassoed. So I'm going to use the paintbrush option, which is right here. Sometimes it'll look like the gradient tool. You just hold it down and select the paint bucket. And then I'm going to dump that gray color in. And I might say, not 100% positive on that. Maybe I want to go with more of an orange or maybe a blue of some sort. So I'm just going to play with my colors till I get something that I like. And then I'm going to go ahead and dump it in. If you say, you know what, I actually want the color to be exactly the blue color from my logo, I can use the eyedropper tool. The eyedropper tool is right here. I can select the blue color, it puts that blue color in my color bar here. And then when I dump with the paint bucket, it's the exact same blue color, which is really nice. I'm going to, again, deselect so nothing's selected. Now notice something that happened here. Do you see how there's just a little white bar around my border? That's probably just from when I selected. I'm going to go ahead and transform that one more time. So I'm going to go Edit, Transform, and I'm just going to skew it a little bit more just to make sure that I fill that whole area totally, and I don't have any weird white borders or other color borders from the original image. So I can just kind of mess with that edge just the teeniest bit there and make sure that I have exactly what I want. Now I'm ready to add a slogan. I want some kind of slogan about my product on here, or maybe you have another image, maybe you want to show your t-shirt design, whatever it is that you want to add in here. I'm going to now use the text tool, and I'm just going to click here. I'm just going to type in the word slogan here. Now notice it thinks it needs to be blue, and the reason I know that is because my blue is highlighted up here. So I'm going to go ahead and make that white for now just so I can see it. And I'm already at a 72-point font. It probably will default to a 12-point. Whatever it is, make it as big as you'd like. Make sure it is the font that you want. I'm using this color block font. And then I'm going to use a little bit of a warp tool to create a kind of fun effect here with my logo. So maybe I will use, let me see what this one looks like. Well, that's kind of fun. So you can see it if you move your little dialog box out of the way. And then I can actually see that it's done that little wave. Let's try a different one just to see what it looks like. Got an arch. Nah, I don't like that one as much, but maybe I could play with it a little bit until I get it the way that I'd like. But I really kind of liked that rise one. So I'm going to go ahead and click there. And then I'm at the point where I need to move it. It's overlapping, right? So I need to move it around until I get it right where I need it to be. So depending on where that is, if you need to transform it, you can just hover over your corners like you do in Illustrator, and you can kind of move it around as best as you can. So that's how you would get your logo onto the billboard, add color by deleting the background, knowing how to skew it, and then adding text in the end. Now, once it's here, you now have 3 layers that you're working with. The best option is for you to use the layer menu and flatten your image so that it's all on one single layer. Then I'm going to go ahead and save it. And I'm going to save it as, under your menu here, I'm just going to save it to my desktop. I'm just going to save it as a PDF document here, right there, Photoshop PDF. And that way it's usable very well in my Illustrator. High quality print, sure, just hit Save PDF. Hit yes if it's asking you questions. And now I'm actually ready to move over to my Illustrator example board, which is right here. And I'll show you some examples from here. So now I'm ready. Once again, I'm going to use the File and Place option. That's really important. And now let me make sure that I have it on my desktop. And this is where I have my billboard. And I'm going to place my billboard, boom, right there. I'm going to get this other fake one out of the way. Oops. I'm just going to select this here and kind of figure out a way, there we go, to lay it right over top, or you can delete that other one out of there. You just have to find the layer within this. And there is your billboard in its location. Now, along the same lines, you need to make sure that you have your brand name here. You need to make sure that you put your logo here. Those are all things that you need to add to your actual presentation board. But now at least one of your marketing items is done. And then you can use the same method for your third marketing item or your fourth, whatever it is that you still need to add to.